Well, the United States has warned that some 8,000 North Korean troops are now in Russia's Kursk region near the Ukrainian border. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken said the soldiers had received extensive training from the Russians that indicated they would be dispatched to the front line and could enter combat against Ukraine in the coming days.
One of the reasons that Russia is turning to these North Korean troops is that it's desperate. Putin has been throwing more and more Russians into a meat grinder of his own making in Ukraine. Now he's turning to North Korean troops, and that is a clear sign of weakness. Russia's been suffering some 1,200 casualties a day in the east, more than at any other time during the war. And with the deployment of these North Korean troops to Russia and now to the front lines, this is the first time in 100 years that Russia has invited foreign troops into its country.
Right, Mikhail Alexeyev is a politics professor at San Diego State University. His research focuses on Russia's military invasions, including the war in Ukraine. A warm welcome to you. I wonder if you agree with the US Secretary of State that Russia's use of North Korean soldiers is some sort of sign of weakness, an act of desperation from Putin to replenish depleted stocks of manpower.
It certainly is a testimony to the effectiveness of Ukrainian defenses and the problems that Russia is starting to have with manpower. But that's only part of the story. The second part of the story, that it is bad news for Ukraine, that 8,000 troops in a limited area like Kursk is a significant infusion of manpower. If you think of the Russian strategy that shifted from mass frontal assaults to artillery bombardments, combined especially with glide bombs, very, very powerful glide bombs, and then sending small groups, sometimes fewer than 10 soldiers out in the field. If we think of 8,000 North Koreans, that's an infusion of something like 800 of such small mobile groups that can keep attacking Ukrainian defenses. So that is not a very, very positive development. And it also poses other dangers that these troops may acquire combat experience that may destabilize the Korean Peninsula. The Russian government may be giving North Korea the kind of expertise in intercontinental ballistic missile technology that would actually enable Kim to build missiles that would not burn in the atmosphere and can hit the United States. And it could also be a trial balloon. Depending on how the West responds, Russia may invite more fighters, including from North Korea, onto its territory.
There's so many threads to pull on there, Mikhail. Let's start with the West then. The Russian President Putin always has warned the West that involvement of foreign troops in combat operations would represent a dangerous escalation. Now he is deploying troops from abroad himself. What does this mean for the West, do you think? Does this move any red lines for the West and their level of involvement in Ukraine?
Well, so far we have already sent some right signals responding. President Biden called it a very dangerous development. We also indicated that U.S. military equipment, weapons can be used against North Korean troops, that they are fair game in that situation. But this is not enough. Given the threats that I described, particularly the potential that this is just a trial balloon, a thin end of the wedge, so to speak, I think it's very important to enhance response, to send the message across different arenas, including, for example, diplomacy reach, such as the one that Defense Secretary Austin reached out to the Russian defense minister when he told him that all restraints are off if Russia considers using weapons of mass destruction. We can say that the red lines have crossed and we may reconsider the use of Ukraine allied forces to assist it. And also, of course, developing other forms of military assistance, delivering what we already provided on time, what already is in the pipeline, delivering those supplies faster, and considering other forms of military assistance.
Mikhail, let's talk about the other big wheel here. Chinese President Xi has said nothing about two of China's allies, Russia and North Korea, cooperating in this way. What do you make of Xi's radio silence on the matter?
Well, for China, the way I see it, observing Russia-China relations for some time and looking at the North Korean situation, it's a double-edged sword. On the one hand, it may be the strategic intent of China to have this war go a longer period of time so that particularly Western alliance is more depleted and exhausted, and China then has a freer hand in East Asia. On the other hand, China is probably concerned about the kind of capabilities that North Korea may acquire in return for this assistance. And it may also be concerned that the influence of China in North Korea may decrease and the influence of Russia in North Korea would increase as a result.
Politics professor at San Diego State University, Mikhail Alekseev. It's been great to get your thoughts on DW. Thanks so much for your time.
My pleasure. Thank you.